It is my pleasure to introduce to you a good friend of Colel Chabad, the mayor of Newark, New Jersey, Mr. Cory Booker.
Good evening. I am very excited to be here on this magical night. It's magical for many, many reasons. I was just sitting here talking to our esteemed honoree, Len Blavatnik, and I found out that tonight is his mother's 80th birthday, and that is very, very special. Very, very special. I also say, for purely self-interested reasons, that it's the birthday of a good friend of mine here who's here tonight, Shterni Boteach. I bring it up because she is single, and I want trying to make a shidduch. So if all of the eligible men, would you please give me a chance to please be the yenta of the evening? I was told if I make a few of these, I can get a place saved for me in heaven. But besides embarrassing Shterni, I wanted to let you all know that this organization has now truly become a part of my heart. When I talk about the magic of this evening, last year when I was here, I was about to take off to go to Israel. When I got there, thanks to my truly righteous friend Abe Eisenstadt, I went to a celebration for Colel Chabad, for widows and orphans, and it was a tremendous night. I ended up with a young man on my shoulders dancing around, and I got a chance to speak to the widows who had such stories from their heart to be recognized, not because of their tragedy, but because of the triumph of the Jewish spirit. I want to end just by telling you what Abe and I did later. You see, this was a chance for me to bring my mom and my dad to their first trip to Israel. My father, whose health was deteriorating, for my mom and him, it was truly magical to be in Israel. I'll never forget praying at the Kotel and seeing my mom stand back and just tears of joy to see me and my father praying together. Literally, someone took a picture. It's now the screensaver and one of my most treasured memories with my parents. But that night, something happened. When we put my parents to bed at the King David Hotel, two of our security guards, Israeli special servicemen, came up to me and said, "We will go for a ride." And I, being the American who left my security detail back in New Jersey, looked at them and I said, "Yes, we will." They took me on, put Abe and I in the car and took us on a long drive down highways, but suddenly we went off-road. Next thing we know, we're going through the desert. The cell phone service on my phone went out, and I began to think, oh my God, is this what they do to the Goyim when they visit Israel? Thank God, Baruch Hashem, we ascended to a mountaintop, and my cell service came back. We got out of the car, and we lit a fire. Now, I tell you this because, as you all know, that this Torah portion of this week is Shmos. You all know that, yes? Don't let a goy here show you up. You didn't know this was a Devar Torah portion, did you? Well, it's also, you know, it's about Moses going to the mountaintop and seeing the burning bush. What I want to tell you now is, again, the magic of the Torah. Because actually this week, when we stood there on a mountain and lit a fire, the week that we did that was the week of the story of Joseph, where he was thrown into the well. Well, as the men were explaining to me what I was seeing around me, we looked across the valley to another mountain, and they told me that that was the mountaintop. That was the mountaintop that Moses came to, Mount Nebo, that Moses came to and could see into the promised land. And immediately as I stood there, two Americans, two Israelis, our Jewish guides, and me, a non-Jew, I suddenly began to shiver, and I asked them, would you do me a favor, as I look at that mountaintop where Moses stood, would you please give me your iPad and your Torah? They pulled their iPad and the Torah. This is the modern era. You carry both with you, don't you understand? And they gave me them both, and the first thing I did was to pull up a speech by Martin Luther King. You all know this speech. It was the last words that King would give. Hours later, he would be murdered. But you know the speech which he said, "I have been to the mountaintop, and I have looked over, and I have seen the promised land, and today I am fearing no man, because mine eyes have seen the glory of the coming of the Lord." It was this great leader in America, a leader of justice, a leader of righteousness, who called to the consciousness of a people to rise up and understand that God has a vision for us. Well, when these men finished hearing that speech, 2 non-Americans and 2 Americans, I could see at that point their attention had been grabbed, but then I asked for their Torah. And I had them turn with me to the page of the Torah reading for that week, and suddenly I told them to read these words, and from the Torah portion it simply said, "Behold, here cometh the dreamer. Let us slay him and see what becomes of his dreams." I told these 2 Israelis that there was a site in Memphis, Tennessee called the Lorraine Motel, where Martin Luther King was murdered. And there on a plaque at that very site are the words from the Torah, "Behold, here cometh the dreamer. Let us slay him and see what becomes of his dreams." I could see my 2 compadres. I can see my friend from America. We were all touched in that moment, and I want to leave you with this sentiment, that here we are 200 years later. There's no accident by the fact that we are gathered here. There is no chance. God's Spirit is with us in this room. And it is clear that even when a great man like the Alter Rebbe falls and succumbs to death, that the dream still goes on, that the vision still endures, that the light still radiates warmth, that the magic still exists as long as we in our hearts keep that flame, keep that light, keep that dream alive. We are here tonight because the dream still lives. The mission is still urgent. The cause is still great. And we have done well to continue and endure in the greatest calling God has. For tzedakah. That word, it comes from tzedek, which means justice. We are doing that. This organization is making it real. I have seen it from the United States to Israel. And so on this night, I would repeat the 2 words. The 2 words of encouragement, the 2 words of gratitude, 2 words that I may not know from my Christian tradition, but that ring in my heart tonight. To all who are involved in this great organization, who are keeping the dream alive, who are igniting a light of hope and promise for all people, I simply say these 2 words: Yasher Kola. Thank you.